It's 5:30 and we will call the Loudon County Regional Planning Commission to order. Would you stand please and pledge allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call please.
Ron Bright.
Here.
Jim Brooks.
Here.
Todd Kennedy.
Here.
Keith Buckles.
Here.
Pam McNew. Here. John Napier.
Here.
Leon Shields.
Here.
Mike Waller.
Here.
Jimmy Williams.
Here. Do I have a move to approve the minutes from the August 8th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Planned agenda items. A, this one was tabled from last month. Placing sign on property of existing subdivision, applicant Eloy Garza, tax map 050, parcel 196.00, located 11130 Von Order Road, R1 Suburban Residential District, District 1. Is Mr. or Ms. Garza here?
Yes.
Tell us what you got in mind.
I got the picture of the site in my hand. Here, so we just want to drill it right in the middle of the park at the entrance. So we just we want to know if we are allowed to drill it.
Any questions from the board about the sign?
Jim?
This is, really didn't know how to deal with this. This is an old subdivision. It's not really a platted subdivision, but you see here that what they show as common property, they're looking to put this, what would have typically been a subdivision sign, on the common property. That's why we brought it before you all. Typically, we would approve that during a subdivision plat. I don't see an issue with it.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Yeah, it'll meet its setbacks and things. We have discussed that, yes.
I'll second.
Got a move and a second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor of the approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You're good to go. B, Rezone request from A2 to R1, applicant property owner Jody Freeman, tax map 055, parcel 006.00, located 4860 Simpson Road, A2 Rural Residential District to R1 Suburban Residential District, District 1, approximately 17.9 acres. Mr. Freeman,
Yes,
would you like to address this, please?
slightly. So basically what I'm anticipating, hoping to do here is, I understand that there is a influx of people in Loudon County as much as there is the surrounding counties and such. And so what I was hoping to do was provide more affordable housing for the Loudon County area. This is a piece of property that has been in my family since 1977, and through the willing down to myself, I wanted to be sure to try to do something useful with it as opposed to, I don't know, selling it off to somebody like D.R. Horton or some big massive builder. I'm in business myself, and so I wanted to try to make for more affordable housing, therefore allowing more people having a place to live as opposed to just being overran in the county. As I've got Dave Campbell here with me as well, civil engineer that I've been trying to work with on this as well. We've done some of the backlog work on it as well, and as far as from an engineering perspective, really as much as anything, whenever it comes to the new home market, obviously it's hot and there's selectively here and there, but something that I definitely wanted to be sure and try to hit on was to try to have semi-handicap compliant. And what I mean by that is like level building, one exterior, one kitchen, one bathroom door be like 38-inch, making it not only affordable housing, but very useful housing for the community as such.
When David Campbell, Ideal Engineering, when Mr. Freeman first contacted me, he said his grandpa had owned the property for a long time and been a member of the community for a long time, and he said his grandpa had mobility issues in the later part of his life, and his grandpa said, I wished I had a house I could move into where, I could deal, it was more friendly to his condition, for his mobility. So Jody says, I would like to, he looked at the density, allowable density in the A2 zone, and said I couldn't even get 8 houses, more than 8 or 9 houses on the 19 acres, and it wouldn't justify the improvements needed to actually make a subdivision there. And so he was looking for a way to get more houses on the property, and spoke to Phil about the R1 and the R2 zone, and that's led to our request here.
Yeah, and so I'm not wanting to come in and build some massive apartment complex. We want to make a decent, affordable housing neighborhood. That's what we're looking to do.
Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to address this? Sir?
I'd like to know how many lots you plan.
Well, on the preliminary, we plotted out 27.
So I need to know.
Okay. And so basically, he brings up an excellent point. That's almost 18 acres of property. You could take a family of 4, maybe 5. It would potentially mostly serve the needs of 4 or 5 individuals while housing one family. And so with that being said, our attempt here is to try to pass a plat that would house 27.
Somebody back here had a comment?
Yes.
Yes, the long section on the border there, I own that property, and I'm not really excited about having a subdivision or houses put in there. I grew up out there, knew the people who lived there in the 50s. Of course, I don't know this gentleman here, or I don't look at your dad, that, oh
Here's
no,
my great-grandfather.
that's his great-grandfather.
Yes.
I never knew him, but now I knew all the other people that owned the place. And I'm not excited about having a subdivision. We don't have, it's a small road. Of course, I know the county commission is, interested in tax base. And of course, I know if this goes through, you guys gonna make a lot of money off the taxes of it, but I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in my price of my property going up. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, I'm Tim Curtis, I live on the corner of the road out there, and, our road's just a little small out there, and, it won't be good for our community to have more traffic on that road. The road can't handle the traffic that we got on it now, with the amount of equipment and stuff, the road's too narrow, and, no utilities out there, and I'm just all against, having subdivision out there on agriculture.
Yes, back row.
I live across the road from there, and like they keep saying, our road cannot take the traffic. We're already getting Telco Village people through there constantly, all day. And any more traffic is gonna be bad. There's kids that live on there, it's just a lot of traffic.
Okay.
My name is Mike Simpkins. I'm speaking for 6 families that live on Simpson Road. They have all expressed concerns. One of them is what everybody's saying here, that road is between 12 and 15 feet wide, depending on where you're at. We have traffic coming through there now we have a problem with. We've called the sheriff's department, trying to get people to slow down. We have a lot of young kids that that live out there. We're worried about them, plus our pets some of our pets that are running loose. My concern is that if you put 35 houses on this piece of property, do you have the money right now to develop this property?
We're looking to do it basis.
You're looking to do it. So what is going to happen is sort of like Rarity Bay. You're going to go in there and you're going to tear this ground up and you're going to ruin this piece of property. And then you're not going to have the money to finish it up. It costs a lot of money to build the infrastructure you're talking about doing. You've got roads, you've got utilities, the other thing is there's no sewer. So now you're going to put roughly, let's say, 2 houses to an acre, maybe more. You're talking about putting 36 to 40 septic systems in. That is the head of the aquifer that feeds that whole valley, and there's still houses down below it that have wells. We don't know what that's going to do to our water system right there. Plus the wildlife, we have deer, we have turkey, we have people everywhere that come in there. It's just not a good thing for that community. It's a nice, quiet, small community, and we'd like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it all.
So as he had mentioned on the road, I did contact the highway department. The highway department had told me that the road is
Quiet,
recorded.
please.
The highway department had told me that the road is recorded at 24 feet wide.
Anybody from the board want to address?
Jim, is there public water on this property?
It's a problem for us.
Yes, there is.
Is there sewer?
There's not sewer, no, it'd be septic systems.
Jim, how far away is the nearest R1? Because the map that we
Yeah,
were given was.
that's one thing, if you look, most of the properties in this area are all A2. The closest R1, move your cursor on down where. Alright, go over across the road to those 3 small lots. Right in there, there's a section, those 3 lots right there are zoned R1. They were done, the best I can tell, back in 1995. I'm not sure. But most of the properties in that region are all A2.
You don't remember if that was a special request, or is that something just by the planning department?
The reason I knew it was 95 is because it's dated on the map.
I think it brings a unique dynamic if we step outside the A2 and go to the R1. What's he allowed to do within the A2?
Well, A2, and just to be clear, as long as he can get the utilities, the water, and the road, Billy Pickles stated that the road coming from Sticky to this development would meet our minimum of 18 feet. He can build the subdivision. Of course, the density differences are in the R1, you're talking about 100-foot lot widths, which they are in A2 also. But you go from an acre lot to a 20,000 square foot lot in the R1, which is gonna allow you to build more homes in that area, rather than what you might be able to lay out with just 1 acre lots.
So he can build 20 or how many acres is it?
17.91. The math's not exactly exact by the time you put tension in the road and such, and that's where we had came up with 27.
So the A2 still allows him to have some kind of building or development on it,
It does.
but no public sewer, and it changes the size of the lots.
It does, it reduces those lots, and it causes smaller lot sizes in an area that's predominantly open, larger space.
That's the only thing concerns me, we get in the spot zone, and everything around it's
That could be another issue, yes. Looking at the area and the nature of what it is probably, zoned fairly accurate.
Jim, when I was looking at this too on behalf of Mr. Freeman, the property above the three you said were R1, that seems to, is there not R1 zoning in that area as well?
Where at?
Above the three, you highlighted the three lots.
Yeah,
Right.
right here, these, I don't recall seeing anything when I looked at the map, and of course Jeannie, put these numbers on here, I don't recall seeing any additional. I wanted to look to see where the closest R was.
Okay.
I make a motion that we retain it as A2 due to the spot zoning and the feeling of the community.
Second.
Got a move and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of this proposal, to keep it at A2, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, it will remain A2.
Thank you. Thank you for your consideration.
C, rezone request to remove agricultural stipulations, C2, applicant property owner Benjamin Mullins, tax map 007, parcel 066.00, located 19666 Highway 11 East, C2, General Commercial District, District 5, approximately 8.74 acres. Mr. Mullins here.
Good evening, Ben Mullins, with the law firm Francis Collins Seymour. To be clear, I filed the application. I represent the owner, which is Esquire Management, and they've owned this property for a little over a year now. Some background on this property: it's already zoned C2. It was zoned C2 back in October of 2021. Mr. Noah Myers came here, had an option on the property, wanted it zoned to C2, so he could develop it as an agriculture feed store, I believe is what he wanted to do. And it was R1 at that time, and this body unanimously recommended it be zoned C2 at that time, with no conditions or stipulations on it. When it went to the County Commission did approve the C2 zoning, but put three conditions on the property. First condition is that there be no access to Shipley or Old Stage Road, that all the access be on Highway 11E. Second condition is that there be a 25-foot buffer zone wherever it abuts residential property, because there is residential property there in the area. And the third condition is, since Mr. Myers said that he intended to use it as a farm and ag equipment store, that it have an agriculture stipulation on it and can only be used for those purposes, so it was very narrow. Mr. Myers ended up not buying the property, and the ag and feed store, there's no plans or no one interested in this property for that. So my client did buy the property, and he looked at a couple of different plans. I think we came here last year with some plans about trying to do some type of mixed retail and residential, and those plans, at one point he wanted to access Shipley and Old Stage, and we decided that wasn't a good idea. We came through with a different plan, not only accessing Highway 11E and with the residential, but there were some concerns about that too. So we went back basically to the drawing board and kind of see what can we do on this property, and what do we need to do. And what we are trying to do on this property is to develop it as a completely fenced, completely gated self-storage facility. And the only condition that we need to remove to be able to move forward with that type of plan would be the agricultural stipulation, because obviously self-storage is an ag operation. So that's what we are intending to do with this. And through the process of coming here before, we spoke to many of the neighbors, and the neighbor that's most directly affected is Mr. Martin, who owns the property that's immediately kind of to the east, and we kind of butt him on he's the, I can't read lot number there, but he's the one that's closest to the property on the east and the north there. And he had a lot of concerns that we talked about. I mean, there's a lot of old trees there that aren't in very good health, and when the wind comes through, they've been blowing them down and limbs, and he's afraid that some of them might even fall into his yard. We've had some pretty big trees fall back there that just missed his property. There's also some invasive species of vines and ivy and things that are growing in there that he's kind of beaten back because it's there. And, with, property this close to Highway 11 and this close to Knox County, there's oftentimes some vagrants and some people that come back there and camp out or hang out for a while. And he has some concerns about that. So property needs to be developed for something. So what we really sat down, we met with him several times. We hired Mr. Michael Verson, who's here. He's a landscape architect. He's the one that came up with the concept plan that's attached to this application. And we met with Mr. Martin. We went through 3 or 4 different versions of this before we came up with the one that we filed. We met the owner, myself, and Mr. Verson went out there and walked the property line. We talked about, what kind of landscaping and buffering he would like, what kind of fence he would like. We talked about the difference between a fence and a chain link. We ultimately settled on a 6-foot chain link fence, but it would be at that kind of black vinyl, so it wouldn't stand out or wherever it's a budding residential property, and of course it'll be all gated off and fenced. And we ultimately came up with this plan, and that's what we moved forward with. With this self-storage concept, it's actually, as far as traffic, people coming in and out, it'll be less intensive. There'll be less people come self-storage. They kind of come and go once a week, if that. Very sporadically. It's very, don't make a lot of noise. There's not like a peak traffic time or anything like that. It's less intensive than what the ag or feed store would be as far as traffic and in and out traffic and privacy and issues like that. And the other thing is, we have a concept plan now with the self-storage. We'll have to come back through with a special use. So we'll have to have a full set of plans and engineering. I know whenever you develop property, there's concerns about traffic, there's concerns about runoff and stormwater, and we'll have to work with Mr. Jenkins and his group on making sure that, whatever we do on that property, we're not gonna make it worse for any property around there. Whatever runoff is currently having, I don't know if people are gonna complain if they're having flooding problems or things like that. In East Tennessee, people often have flooding problems. We will have to engineer it and meet their ordinance, their stormwater ordinance, where any flows that are coming off the property after we develop are equal to or less than what's going on there now. Now, that's another step in the process, something we'll have to come back before this body and talk about and address any concerns at that time. This is the first step in the process. There's lots of commercial zoning already out there. This property is already commercial zoning. It just had the condition placed upon it because that was the intent at the time Mr. Myers asked for it to be rezoned. Different owner, we have a different intent now. And removing this stipulation is the only thing we're asking for to allow us to move forward with more detailed plans that would address potentially some other concerns that people may have. But it just allows us the next step in the process to try to come forward with something that works. That'll put this property to good use. That'll deal with the vegetation, the trees falling down, the vines that Mr. Martin is seeing, dealing with the vagrant problem. People won't be able to come back there.
Let me call time on you and see if
I
there's
understand, I just trying to
questions
anticipate
from
what
the
people
board?
may say.
The only place you're gonna access is from the 11, right?
Only from 11, that's right, no access, that's a condition that's still be on the property.
Any opposition?
Well, if we take the agriculture out of this and make it C2, and I know you plan on doing storage facility, but once we change it to C2, then once that opens the door to something else, if you say, well, we don't want to do that, we want to do this.
Sure, that's a valid concern, and it's within this body's authority to place another condition on it. The county commission did before, as far as putting the agricultural condition on it. If that's a concern, you say we wanted to condition it where it can only be developed for self-storage. But that is what we intend to do. I mean, he spent a lot of time working with Mr. Martin, coming up, hiring a landscape architect at the very preliminary stage. So we're invested in doing this, so we wouldn't put this amount of time and money into it so far.
Jim, anything you'd like to add on this?
He's covered it pretty well. It was county commission, you know, we did the rezoning to C2. It was county commission that added those stipulations. Of course, once it leaves here, it'll go back to county commission and they can add additional stipulations at that time, you know. for
Do
the
we have the
self-storage, we can
powers
do
to
that.
remove the agricultural stipulation?
The best I can tell is just a matter of process because it's a zoning action. In my opinion, it was a zoning action when they put it on the property, so now the zoning action is to remove it from the property, so it starts with us. So I think, you know, we remove it, send it to them, and then county commission.
It's just our recommendation to them.
I believe so, yes, sir.
I make a motion that we remove it.
I'll second.
Got a move and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank y'all very much.
Okay. D, rezone request from R1 to C2, applicant property owner Johnny Long, tax map 009, parcel 103.02, located 2001 Waller Ferry Road, R1 Suburban Residential District to C2 General Commercial District, District 5, approximately 1.12 acres. Mr. Long,
Yes, right here.
come up and address your proposal.
That property's been in my family since, 1954. And my parents are dead and young. And, you know, my sister has a joint, acre to it. And it's no good for a house. I mean, there's not enough width, due to the width of the strip, it's not, feasible to put a house down through there. And it would be good for a commercial site. You know, it's kind of track store or something. And well, you know, there's, of course, there's quite a bit of the land there that's hampered by the power line. You can't build over that, but it doesn't hurt you. You know, you can drive through it. And it's no good for anything, you know, putting a personal side on the business. And the only thing I'm interested in right now is being able to sell it.
You want to sell it, okay?
Because I'm not able to, I'm 75 years old, and I'm not able to do anything with it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm 100% disabled through the state and the military too. So I'm just limited to what I can do. And it's a valuable piece of land because it borders 321. I've got it all, my land stretches all the way from 321 to 311. And, but back in the 50s or 60s, I bet it was, or 70s, they put that, the right of way up for sale, or you know, the lease was over. And I talked my father into doing it, you know. He said, well, nobody like to be able to do that place because the line, the power line runs through it. And so I finally talked to him and got him to buy the right of way. And so that leads, that joins 321.
Any questions from the board to Mr. Long?
Jim, your thoughts?
It did go through Lenore City's Planning Commission, which they made a recommendation. It is bordered by the city on one side, and then there's some C2 in area, city is C3 adjacent to it. You know, being zone C2 is probably not an issue. The one thing I think we should consider is how they would access that property. You probably wouldn't want a certain type of commercial business and activity coming up, accessing Waller Ferry. You'd probably want to require that access to come off Highway 321 if you were going to rezone it to C2.
Well, I didn't want to put the money in it to do that, because I'm not interested in putting business on it. I don't need a business on it, and that's the only way I can see feasible to get rid of it. Get it out of my name and turn it into cash.
Was that a stipulation that we can put on the rezoning then?
I believe it's something you could put on there that the C2 would be appropriate if access was, if they were able to get access off Highway 321.
Well, like I said, you know, I've got the paperwork to send into the, state commission to get I've got the plans and everything, you know, what they require. And if, whoever buys the property wants to do that, they can do it. But, I'm not gonna do it.
I'll make a motion, we approve it based on the stipulation that access be limited to 321.
I'll second that.
We got a move and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay.
Thank you.
E, subdivision plat applicant Lenore City Utilities Board, tax map 024, parcel 078.00, located 1200 Hotchkiss Valley Road West, A1 Agricultural Forestry District, District 1, approximately 2.02 acres. Anybody here representing the Utilities Board?
My name's Ron Cronin, I'm with Utility, and we would like to, we're in the process of trying to buy a piece of this property from Plantation Pipeline or Products Pipeline now. We have a small dedicated electric substation there to direct serve that facility, and they kind of scaled down their processes there, and that's since been sort of decommissioned. But we got transmission lines from TVA already there, and we're having voltage problems in this area. It's at the end of our system. And we propose to put a small electric substation there to serve that area of the county.
Jim, where is this on Hotchkiss Valley?
Going down Sugar Limb to the, toward the interstate, you would take the left on Hotchkiss Valley and go back across the bridge which crosses the interstate, and it's right there on the right. The river's just this side of what you see on the map. So I'd recommended them to come, you know, for us to, it is a utility, and of course we've got some BZA stuff for utility, y'all will hear that, but what they're proposing is this 2 acres off of, I think it's a 9-acre tract. Of course, it doesn't really have road frontage, just the way the tract was created. And the other thing utility probably isn't want to do is go through and get all the signature things, septic and things of that nature. So if you notice on note 11, there is a note on your plat, you probably can't read it there, but it basically states that this is for utility only. You know, there's no intent to sell this property off and it becomes some type of residential property in the future. I just wanted y'all to see this and get the blessing on it so we can move forward with your all's approval to have it recorded.
So there's a platted easement for them to access it? Since you
We
don't
have
have
an
road
easement
frontage?
with the Plantation Pipeline Company now for access on that gravel road. And we're working on getting from the property line over to Old Kingston Road platted now and an official easement recorded. That's part of the purchasing process we're going through currently.
There ain't nothing really we can do about it, no way. I mean, we can bless it, but if they won't do it, they can do it.
I understand.
I make a motion to approve it.
I second.
Got a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like for the record to show I abstain my vote.
Okay, so we approve. F, commercial site plan applicant property owner Deborah Rossi, tax map 044, parcel 036.00, located 24303 Highway 321, A1 Agricultural Forestry District, District 3. Ms. Rossi?
Well,
Speaking for Ms. Rossi.
my name is Mark Matlock. I'm obviously not Mr. Rossi. So let me kind of give you guys just a little bit of backstory about this. This is a tract of land that's on Highway 321 and Unisha Road. There was an old residential structure, I think, there years and years ago. The medical clinic, Peepaws, that's currently located over in the Greenback area, has purchased this tract of land. You guys, if you've been on 321, you may have seen some signs that's there for their new location coming soon. This is again, something that's been started again several years ago, and again, how I got involved, which is a great friend of mine, which is Mr. Ed Lowy. Ed was very much instrumental, like I say, in Loudon County, and also too, you know, with Peepaws and with animal sheltering and so forth. And unfortunately, Ed, you know, passed away a little bit over a year ago. And so before Ed had passed away, he asked if I could kind of, you know, take and pick up the torch and help them walk through this. We are, again, not the developers. We're not the general contractors. Again, we have just become friends of the Peepaw organization as we work them through or walk them through, again, some of the plans and the plan development. We think everything is in order. Again, we have submitted stuff to Mr. Bunch and so forth. As far as the site plan, we actually submitted plans, building plans, currently that's under review to Mr. Jenkins as well. The facility is approximately about 3,700 square feet of wood frame structure, very simple frame structure that certainly fits on the site. The total acreage there is about 1.8 acres for this facility. There's not going to be really a lot of, as far as entrances, there's an existing entrance that comes off of 321 and not off Unisha Road that's there to travel that you can see. We are going to be relocating that, and of course a TDOT permit will be submitted and will be applied for.
How far off 321 you gonna be?
I'm sorry?
How far off of 321 is it?
Is the structure?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Jim, can you go, well, I can roll these up. Can you go back to that? You can see again, the front setback is right at, I believe, is that 50 feet that we end up? You can see the property line. There's a good distance between what's the right of way of 321 that's there. So if that's a 50-foot setback, and this should be to scale, I'm gonna say we're probably 60 to 70 feet from the edge of the asphalt back to the property line, another 50. And then if you can see, there's double parking there in the front, which is probably gonna be another 60 feet. So we're, you know, gosh, Mr. Shields, what is that? You've read it math than me. Probably 70,
a good distance.
70, 50, 120. So, you know, we're about 150 feet approximately back if you measure from the edge of the asphalt currently that's there, okay? As I said, there's 1.8 acres. You can see the land disturbance again with the silt fence we've kind of got delineated. There's nothing that's going to be on that lower side. There is, I believe, access again to public water. This will be on a small septic system that will be approved again through the health department, okay? I believe it meets all the requirements and everything as far as parking and so forth. But again, in proper order, we need to take this step before we can move on again, or help them to move on to the building process.
Any questions from the board?
It's allowed in A1 zone?
Allowable in the A1, yes.
Big enough for detention?
Per their architect or engineer, I don't know who feel to contact, their area of disturbance is less than an acre.
Less than an acre.
Will they have to hook on the sewer or not?
They won't.
I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Got a move and second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much.
You are welcome. G, rezone request O-1, R1 to C2, applicant Taylor Forster. Property owner Samir Kabani, tax map 035, parcel 052.00 and 053.00. Located Highway 321, O1 Office Professional District, R1 Suburban Residential District to C2 General Commercial District, District 3. Mr. Forster or Mr. Kabani here?
Taylor Forster.
Okay.
We're here to request rezoning, as you've indicated, to the C2 commercial zoning district for the two tracks. The one that's highlighted on the screen, that is the one that's zoned O1, general office zoning, and then the one below that is R1. There is C2 zoning within the vicinity of the property. I believe that's, I've got my direction correctly to the north of this site along 321. With the O1 tract, basically, the total size of these that are combined is 1.25 acres. So obviously they're similar footprints. So very small tracts on their own. With the O1, based on the size of the tract, location, proximity to 321, and kind of current market conditions for the type of office use that could go here, it really doesn't, current market doesn't support that. Same thing with the R1, the size of that tract, how close that house would be to 321. The uses permitted in R1 district really don't provide for any kind of viable development under the R1. The proposed development is for commercial retail sales, non-fuel related. From my view of the area, just kind of bird's eye view, that there doesn't appear to be a lot of commercial retail options in the area. We think it could be an asset to the community.
An example would be,
As far as what type of,
yeah,
Is that Wally's? Is that Wally's?
No, it's down from Wally's.
It ain't much bigger than Wally's, is it?
A little bit bigger, but not much, no.
What's the total acreage of the two lots?
1.25.
1.25.
Is that much land there?
Yeah, with both lots combined, yeah.
In the development, the median right there would come with, the developer would install a left turn lane. This is that south 321. South side right there.
Jim, how close is the C2, another C2 to this property?
There's, so if we zoom out, there's sporadic, some C1 that's sporadic in both directions. There's also some C2 in both directions. As we got closer to Blount County, that's where we've rezoned some property for some storage facilities at two different locations. And going back toward the Lenore City area, of course, we've got storage facilities and some C2 up where the Emily's Landing is. That's and
Is
then
that
again,
right
there's
there
some-
at Jackson Ferry?
Gator Road, you know where,
Frida Bell? Frida Bells?
yeah, it's, you're just up from where you turn off to go to the campground down off of,
Yeah.
95?
yeah.
Yeah, Yardbird.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's auto sales that's in the vicinity. We're talking about within a mile or half mile. But again, 321's unique. Right now, there is a lot of A1 and A2, but there's also sporadic. We stretch that distance out where we do have C2 and C1 by some past rezonings.
sir, you got a question here? You had your
I
hand
think
up.
that's the old Hammond Tree Place.
Okay.
No, it's below Bucks, ain't it? It's on down.
That's it.
It's just to the Lenore side of, Lenore City side of Antioch Church Road. You can see Antioch Church
Yeah,
Road
it's
right
way down
there.
there at Bucks, so it's above, it's on the greenback side of Wally's.
Probably, yeah.
I think TDOT actually put some asphalt turn-in driveways there on
Yeah,
that parcel. I
yeah.
think. It's already pre-existing.
Those look newer.
Biggest thing, can you get a turn lane put in?
We think we can, with working with TDOT.
That's on the right side going toward Merrill.
No,
Left side going toward Merrill.
it's right before you get to that, what's the name of that, Yardeer or Yard?
Yeah, it's right
Where
there
that
next to it.
subdivision is going to Yardbury.
Yes,
Yardeer Lane or something like that.
yes.
That's right there.
Yardie.
Yeah.
It's what, it's on the back of it.
Any opposition?
So these are, I mean, combined, you said they're a little over 8 acres. I mean, it's gonna be pretty limited as to what can go in there. I mean, it can't be too big of a retail store if it's only an acre in size.
Yeah.
Put a dollar store in there.
Retail store minus gasoline, that's what.
Yeah, about 10,000 square feet with footprint.
Tell the truth. Dollar store.
It wouldn't, it's probably be a Dollar General.
They gotta have one every 3 miles.
You know, I do this a lot for them, and there's always, you know, some kind of hesitation or anything, but at the end of the day, a lot of people that at times show up to oppose them are the most frequent customers. I've gotten emails from them after it's gone in and said, I don't know why I opposed it. I go there 3 times a week now.
Whatever it is, we'll see the site plan.
Yeah, this is just the rezoning process.
You have a recommendation, Jim?
I don't think it's, you know, when you look at it, it's already R1 on one property, which would allow office facilities. The other properties are R1. I don't know that it's real viable for a residential house at that location. It's probably a suitable rezoning request.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Got a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay. H, commercial site plan, applicant property owner Champ Beeler, tax map 0078, parcel 019, located 14190 Hickory Creek Road, C2 General Commercial District, District 5. Mr. Beeler, I assume.
Yes, sir. Appreciate your all time tonight. We tried to get all this, in time for last month's meeting, but we couldn't get all the stuff, the T's crossed and I's dotted. So I think this time around, Jim, we've got everything to you that you need. We decided that we were encroaching on the rear setback because we wanted to cover loading dock back there. So we decided to take that cover off that loading dock so it would not, it would meet the requirements inside the setback. Other than that, I think all the other concerns have been addressed. I have a building right next door. Actually, Mr. Walbert did the engineering on it 10 years ago, or 11 years ago.
It's been a while.
So it's been a while.
Mr. Bill and I are good friends.
We're planning on doing the same type of building that we have right next door. It's a commercial warehouse with very little office space up front. It's, and I think there's a need for it. I've turned down several people want to purchase it, so I think it's time to vote no.
Jim?
I believe he has everything in order. The only thing I believe Phil said he had a question on was the, they show setback lines, and there's a corner of that building that it's not really, you can't delineate that it is within that setback. That's something that the architect or engineer can address, so just to make sure that we are at that 20 foot. But everything else is in order.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion from the board? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is approved. I, subdivision plat, applicant Josh Sherlin, tax map 016, parcel 324.00 and 325.00, located Old Midway Road, R1 Suburban Residential District, District 6. Mr. Sherlin?
He's no longer with us, but I'm Josh Horn. I represent the survey company.
Okay.
Ms.
You say no longer with us, did he pass away?
No, I won't say, I won't say that. No, he's taken another position elsewhere, and we wish him the best. We've got Miss Pham, she owns this piece of property, she's owned it for a couple of years now. I believe originally the intent when she bought the property, she had plans to develop it with duplexes, and at the time, the regulations, she fell within that, but she failed to begin the construction process, and somewhere along the lines, I believe talking to Mr. Jenkins, those regulations changed and required sewer hookups, and there's nothing nearby for her to get that now, so we've just kind of settled in to try to get approved just 4 lots for single family development.
How many acres is it?
You know that total acreage right out.
I do. It's, about five.
He has,
5 acres.
About 5 acres. yes,
he
sir.
hasn't identified on the
Yeah,
plat.
I thought I had the old acreage on there, I apologize, I don't have it right in front of me. All the lots meet the road frontage requirements. The only thing, I spoke with Mr. Jenkins about is she has not gotten septic, done yet, but we discussed that we could bring it and to you guys to consider, and she's in the process of getting septic soils testing out there now. And obviously, you guys would see a site plan before anything went up on these lots. Right now, we're just doing the land.
5 lots.
4 lots.
4 lots.
Lots.
4 lots.
4 new lots,
Yes, sir.
plus the existing lot. So it's 5 lots total. So 2 of the lots are flag lots, right?
Yes, sir.
What about,
So the lot 1, we've got it set back there, as you can see, because we don't meet that 100-foot lot width until approximately 150 feet back in the lot. So that's pretty limited on where she could build on that one. The other 2, we've got the frontage and the width on all those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we reviewed it, it's all compliant. Of course, she'll get her septic approvals prior to being able to get the plat signed. I reached out, I sent it to the highway department, hadn't heard anything back. It's been a few weeks. I don't think he'll have issue. Of course, he has to sign that plat also, so I don't see any issues with it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank you all for your time. Appreciate you looking at me.
4, county commission action on planning commission recommendations.
We didn't have anything.
Okay. What about codes department billing activity summary?
There's nothing new to add.
And any additional comments from the public? Speak now, or forever hold your peace. Update from the planning department.
Nothing new to add on there.
Okay, do I hear a movement for this board to adjourn?
So moved.
You're BZA, right?
Well, we got recognition. All in favor, signify by saying aye. We are adjourned.
Hey, Jim. Jim.
Going to the hayfield.
You good out there?
You got your hay cut?
We missed the rain today, and so we bailed and got some more down.
That's what I'm saying, and that was our 3rd cut.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Yeah, this is what
Get it
we
on.
did today, yeah, what I did yesterday.
Ready to call the Loudon County Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order.
Hey, Jimmy.
Have a roll call. We're the roll call.
Just went to the restaurant.
We're waiting.
We can do it.
All right, go ahead. We're all here.
We're doing right here. Leon Shields.
Here.
Ryan Bryant.
Here.
Jim Brooks.
Here.
John Napier. Here. Mike Waller.
Here.
Everybody that's gonna speak in this meeting needs to stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you may give in the causes now pending before this commission be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you, be seated. Everybody read the minutes?
I move that those minutes be approved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Planned agenda items. Special exception for storage facility, applicant property owner Arlen Gorley, located 70 West Highway 70 West, tax map 0101, parcel 026.00 C2, general commercial district, District 5, approximately 2.59 acres. Mr. Gurley?
Yes, sir. Early?
Gurley?
Yep.
Tell us what you got.
We're currently building 3 office warehouses that are 6,000 square foot apiece on the corner of Himes Valley and 70. And we've had interest and we are exploring other uses for the buildings and we can retrofit them for indoor mini storage. And I'd like to get a special exception that if that option comes on the table that we can move forward with it.
So we really don't have firm plans yet, you're just kind of hedging your bet.
No, we're currently building the buildings right now. And they're gonna be office warehouses. They've been approved to be office warehouses, and we're wanting to have that option on the table to do indoor mini storage.
Does it mess him up on his current plan if you give him approval for storage? It just adds it to his caveat.
I don't know that, so first of all, I'm assuming it'd be all interior, no exterior?
Interior.
All interior. And then, would that be for all 3 buildings or just what buildings you may want? Because you'd have to probably consider parking, access coming around the storage building opposed to office warehouse where we're pulling in and parking, I would think.
The reason I ask, we just don't want to mess you up in case you want to go back to the original design.
Well, we just want that as an open option, is what we want. We want to be able to do it in any of the 3 buildings if it presents itself.
Would you have to resubmit site plans if you change it to storage? For parking and everything else?
Site plan, you know, the parking would change, possibly for storage as opposed to office warehouse. Off the spot, just thinking out loud, you know, it's one thing we approve a site for storage facilities, it's another thing when we're doing site plan review for office warehouse, so I don't know how the two might mix. If he does 2 in office warehouse and then we do self-storage here. It may not matter, you know, other than you have that mixed use on that property. That's something that hasn't been researched out or looked into.
I think you need to decide what you're gonna do.
I think the main thing is just don't mess yourself up with your current plan in case you change your mind. But the special exception is definitely something that's probably in the area, it's already commercially zoned, and it's an easy transfer and easy request. Just don't make the request until you're solid on the decision.
Well, there's expense in getting solid, and we would wanna know that we're able to do it before we put that money out to explore it. If I would be fine with just approval on 2 of the buildings that are very accessible, easy access, lots of parking. The parking that they've got on our site plan isn't never gonna be filled as a warehouse. I mean, we've got parking all the way around 120 by 50. And that parking will never be used hardly at all. And people are never at mini storage long, they don't visit it long. And there's huge bay doors for them to be able to access inside too, if they need to get to their unit.
Does his indoor require fire suppression?
We'd have to look at that on plan, it'd be a change of plans. Currently, he has a permit for a shell building. We don't have a tenant yet. So, size of building, he may not have to have fire suppression, but we'll have to look at that.
Anybody here in opposition of it? What do you think, Jim?
Well, again, just, I think it's easier to address when we know it's all gonna be, but what we have right here sounds more like a mixed use, which makes it a little less clear.
That's what I said, I think you need to decide what you're gonna do, and then we'll have to go from there.
I don't think the issue is approving it for interior self-storage. I don't
But
see
I
that as
don't
an
think
issue.
we can approve it either or, we gotta know what's going on.
That would be more helpful, I believe, in making that decision.
Now, the decision is an office, warehouse, or what else?
Well, he already has approval. This site plan went through Lenore City. It's in the planning region. He has approval to build 3 office warehouse structures. He has his parking and everything in order.
And he's got 2 built already?
He's building 1 currently, I believe, right? Yeah. He's got 1 shell building being built currently. He has approvals to build 2 more. That's all been through planning, site plan review, went through the city's planning commission approval. So if we were just gonna take and convert all those into mini storage, for interior mini storage, it's probably not that big a deal. I just don't know what we might face in having a mixture of the 2 on the property. This is something we'd probably have to probably talk with Beth about, look through the regs to see what we have with that mixture. Again, I guess you probably wouldn't be being interior. You wouldn't be doing like most facilities, trying to fence in and make it a compound. Are you still doing security?
No, it wouldn't be, because it'd be indoor.
Because it'd be indoor. So I'm not saying that don't know that it's a right or wrong answer right now.
Well, when do you think you would know?
I mean, if I need to know, then I can get on that and let you know. We were looking at 1 building right now of have it retrofitted, and they do it a lot, the companies that supply the material. And they said it would be no problem, but I found out I had to have a special exception. So, and if it works, it would be good, advantageous, because it doubles the amount of monthly income per building. And with that development going on across 321 from us, that 170 something pads are putting in, those all gonna be rental. And those people got a lot of stuff. And so it would be advantageous to do it.
What do you suggest, Jim, that he gets to you to put you on the next agenda, so that way he gets an approval October? Does it hold you up if you wait till October?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Could you get Jim a little bit more detailed, so that way when you bring it before October, you can get a solid?
Can you decide what you're gonna do? You gonna do 1 building, or 2 buildings, or 3 buildings? I don't think it's gonna be no problem to go whichever way you wanna go.
Okay.
But we just can't do it either or for all 3 buildings.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, we can table it. I mean, we could do that.
You wanna table it till next month? Can you do that, Jim?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we table this till next month.
Get with me now.
I'll second your motion.
Got a motion and a second. Anybody else got anything on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise. Item B, special exception for exterior storage. Applicant, property owner Jody Webb, located Hoskus Valley Road, tax map 025, parcel 004.01, C2, general commercial district, District 5, approximately 3.17 acres. What you got?
I'm looking at purchasing this property. I had that zoning problem on the other end of Hotchkiss Valley with the storage with on a plumbing company with a PVC pipe. And this is on the C2. Jim just wanted me to come up here and ask you guys if that's okay to have a lay down yard at that property before I purchase it. I'm gonna have a building there and fenced in area with PVC pipe. There'll be probably 10 bundles. I have probably 8 or 9 trucks coming there every morning, and it's right on the interstate at Sugar Limb, so there won't be a big traffic problem. There's just gonna be 1 building there, so I just want to see if that's okay before I purchase it.
Yeah, we have pipe laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, doesn't this, Mr. Webb's request follows with what we just approved on, is it 36 or 38 as far as storage? Didn't we just approve something next door to Mr. Webb a year or so ago?
We have approved storage buildings on down, and what he's doing is he's going into the C2, but when you read the C2 regs on page 103, it talks about exterior storage and loading areas, and it says the storage of material, equipment, damaged autos, things of that nature shall not be permitted unless approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I will have 3 trucks with track hose, and there's probably be 10 cars or something out there. But everybody comes in at 8, and they'll be gone in an hour, and I'll lock it up, and then they'll probably come in back at 5.
And you run a neat operation too, so if the other commissioners don't have anything, I'd make a motion to approve this request.
We got anybody here, wait a minute, we got,
You know, it's a gas line right away there, don't you?
It's down below it, I'm on the one on the other side.
It cuts right straight across through there.
Yeah, isn't it down on the low side? I had them check.
Yeah, it's on the lower side.
Yeah,
You gonna have to cut the driveway?
yeah.
Yeah.
We have that.
Yeah, that's another thing, I'm gonna have a driveway come off there too. I just wanna see what you guys thought about that.
Have you talked to the pipeline people yet?
You may wanna make that call just to do some due diligence on the pipeline.
Like, it is, when I went down there and looked, it's on that lot next to it, I didn't see it.
No,
on
yeah,
the-
it goes right straight through there.
Okay, all the way down?
Yeah,
Okay.
before you put a bucket of dipper of dirt.
let's go dig and they'll come.
Yeah, before you put any money down, because they don't like you walking across their property.
Okay, I looked on, I tried to stomp it down with this briars, and I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, they're.
As you know, just call you, locate 811, they'll call you back.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we always do.
But I wanna make sure of this before I purchase it.
Now, we can put pipe on the ground.
Start digging and they'll be on you like wild.
Oh, yeah, the helicopter.
Oh, yeah, they believe they know our number.
Got a motion,
I'll say.
got a motion in a second, anybody else got anything? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise.
Okay.
You're okay to proceed and do this, but there's requirements you'll have to meet in order, before you start pulling pipe on the
Okay,
ground.
great. Thanks.
Thank you guys, thank you.
Yep.
Item C, variance request to build attached garage in front side yard, applicant property owner Brian Johnson, located 731 Calhoun Drive, tax map 070L, parcel 013.00, R1 Suburban Residential District, District 3, approximately 6.69 acres. Mr. Johnson here. You know anything, Jim?
He is, this gentleman talked to me about building an accessory building. This is located in the city of Greenback. City of Greenback's regulations require those buildings to sit in the rear yard only. And they've got, then you have a maximum of 30% of the rear yard coverage per the regs. He's informed me that he don't really have a room in the rear yard. He's needing to come to the side, I think the right-hand side, to try to build the structure and pull it forward into the side yard.
He ain't got the room in the side yard.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he does. I have
You been over
received
and
a few
looked at it?
complaints on it. I
You
didn't
been
put the
over and
sign
looked
out.
at it?
Mr. Bunch put the signs out. I haven't seen it.
You just want to table it?
Turn your opposition on.
Wait a minute, just remain calm a minute. You just want to table it, you want to do something?
Yeah, I say table it till he gets here.
Got a motion to table? Second. All right. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like it. We got a bunch here. Everybody's against it, stand up. And I think since we're gonna table it, we need to talk about it to save them a trip back, because it's a disaster over there. I mean, he ain't got no business building a garage in his front yard.
Well, I mean,
Has anybody got a picture of it? I meant to go by there and make a picture. Show them a picture, Dwayne. I meant to go by there and make a
He's got a
picture
list
of
of
it.
everything that's in the front yard.
It's
Shipping
a
containers.
joke. It's a joke. And it's a joke that the city of Greenback ain't done something about it.
Well, that's your opinion.
And the mayor's here.
Everybody on that street is scared of the fella because he carries a gun and.
Well, you got guns too.
As a citizen, that's what we're here to protest.
That's why I'm letting you do what you're doing, to save you a trip coming back
Okay.
next month, if I'm all right in doing that.
You wanna see the
We've
picture?
done it before.
I'd
Show
like
them a
to, yes,
picture.
sir.
Show them a picture.
Thanks, sir.
There's already.
But there's a camper in the yard.
Yeah, there's a camper in the yard and there's,
Oh, they live there?
sometimes he does.
But I don't think the lot's big enough to even put a garage at 30% in the front yard.
Well, he's put 2 driveways in there and then he's got them shipping containers down the side of the property. And,
He's got 12 acres up on Benfield Road and nothing on it. But,
This is your old project.
people are scared of him, really, because he carries that gun.
You got a gun?
I don't
Thought
know.
the big one. Well, I'm just trying to
He's a little hard,
trying to save you straight back there.
he's a little hard to deal with.
We've seen, we've seen the opposition and we will,
Yeah.
if this
We'll
comes back,
remember that
we will
next month,
remember
though.
who came.
And you don't have to
Their
come
opinion.
back next month. I mean, you can if you don't.
Yeah.
We can handle it.
I hear you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks, sir. Get your pictures done.
Anybody else got anything on it? Wait a minute.
Good evening, Board of Zoning Appeals. Thank you for this meeting and allowing the citizens of Greenback an opportunity to speak out either for or against the proposed garage variance at 731 Calvin Drive in Greenback. My name is Derek Doler, and I'm a citizen of Greenback, and I'm also an alderman with the city of Greenback. I'm here to speak out against the variance and ask you to deny this application. The Greenback City Code 4-404 for R1 low density residential subsection 7 states, quote, "No accessory building shall be erected in any required front or side yard," end of quote. Mr. Johnson's yard is already in violation of the 4-404 R1 subsection 6, which states no vehicle or trailer of any kind or type without current license plates shall be stored on any lot other than that in a completely enclosed building. This also goes for recreational vehicles. Mr. Johnson currently has no less than 2 boats, 6 trailers, 2 40-foot shipping containers, 2 pickup trucks, and 2 fifth-wheel trailers, amongst a whole plethora of stacked tires and unsightly items. I seriously hope that you'll consider voting against this variance. Thank you very much.
But, just like I told Dwayne, you're an alderman. The city of Greenback needs to do something about it. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. We're gonna take that into consideration, but I'm just saying, everything you just read, what's wrong, the city of Greenback needs to do something about that.
So the city of Greenback is changing, is evolving from the last mayor that they had there
I ain't
years
worried
ago.
about the last Murray, I'm talking about right now.
And
You
I
should've
am
done
too.
something about 6 months ago.
And I am too, and I've only been on the council about 6 months, and we're making moves.
Tommy, you wanna talk?
We're making
Come
moves
on.
to make that happen. Thank you.
I'm just giving you my opinion. I've got an opinion.
Okay, my name's James Berry, Tommy. I am very much opposed to what he's trying to do, and these pictures that you just looked at, it don't even come close to showing how bad it is over there. And, I have a list here, 10 people in the neighborhood that oppose it, and it's all right, I like to speak on their behalf. But there's not one person on that street that's for him doing this. We've got 3 people that are afraid of it. 2 of them are widow women. One of them's 90-year-old. And we have another one that he's afraid that Mr. Johnson will he'll do something to his farm equipment. And also, we have one other one on the street that he's kind of a good old boy. He don't want to make waves. And, but I want to speak for the 11 that do. And I told them I'd keep their names as quiet as possible. Now, if you just want to see these names, you're welcome to look at it. Okay. They're afraid of him because in roughly a year and a half's time, I have called the police on him for destruction of property. They know the problems that I've had with him, and they're afraid it's going to happen to them. And, a lot of these people are senior citizens. Some of them are even 90-year-old or older. One has Alzheimer's. But I'm speaking for all of them, but I called the police on this guy 6-7 times since the time period for destruction of property and threat. And appearance, I'll hush you that. And you're welcome to look at these names. All right, I appreciate it.
We're good, but just like we tabled it, but y'all can come back next month if you want to, if he re-ups it. But we got what you're saying.
Okay, thank you.
You can come back if you want to, but you don't have to.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Item D, special exception for new substation with no public road frontage, applicant property owner, Lenore City Utilities Board, tax map 024, parcel 078.00, located 1200 Hotchkiss Valley Road, A1 Agricultural Forestry District, District 1, approximately 9 acres. Anybody here?
He's still here.
Same guy.
He's still here.
Mr. Barrett. Mr. Jenkins, I'm gonna defer to you.
Yeah, again, we've already discussed the plat, now we're down to the utilities as being a special exception under our zoning. Like you said in the past, I think you can stop it. Of course, he doesn't have road frontage currently, but again, it's not for a dwelling, it's for utilities, so. I believe we're good.
I make a motion to approve.
Second the
We
motion.
got a motion and second, ain't nobody in opposition, is it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise. You're good.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like for the record to show I've abstained my vote.
I heard you vote.
You said something there.
E, variance request for accessory building to be in the front yard, applicant property owner Joshua Strange, located 1991 Wilson Road, tax map 011, parcel 256.02, R1 Suburban Residential District, District 6, approximately 8.17 acres. Mr. Strange.
Yes, sir. I've got a site plan drawn up, if y'all would like to look at it, but due to the topo of the property I bought, there's 2 low drainage areas that run through. I've got a setback from my drain field. So to keep the privacy of the woods in the front, we've set the house back up on the upper side of the second low drainage area, so in turn, accessory building is being requested to be
Yeah.
in the front.
You good?
Yeah, it's 8 acres.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve due to the hardships of the property.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, any more discussion? Anybody against it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise.
Thank you.
F, variance request for accessory building to be built inside yard, applicant property owner Christopher Hill, tax map 070, parcel 071.00, located 201 Pine Street, R1 Suburban Residential District, District 3, approximately 0.98 acres.
This is in the city of Greenback.
Yeah. Where's Pine Street? I know where Pine Street.
Right at my post office.
Runs down, is that, go up towards Mazzine? No, that's Oak Street.
Yeah,
Pine Street
Mazzine
runs,
Street.
makes it a loop there, don't it? Or it might go turn right into the post office, and comes back out up there at Morganton Road.
No, that's Oak, Pine's a dead end street.
Okay, I know, that's where Penny lives. That's the one we done last month. We done one on it last month.
Now, is 72 yours or just the 71 lot?
Just a second,
Where's it?
that was highlighted up there.
You live in Troy Ford's old house?
No, we went from Jones, we didn't Brenda Jones.
Okay, I know where it's at. Okay, I know where it's at.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve due to the evident hardship for the house that's on the parcel.
I'll second.
Anybody here against it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like.
Thank you.
Anybody else got anything you wanna talk about? If you do, make it quick. You got anything else, Jim?
I don't, but I will introduce you to our new codes enforcement officer, Holly Tucker. She's gonna start addressing
He
these
looks like
complaints.
he's got good sense.
She did, she hid in the back.
Who, did he take Frank's place?
No, she's doing zoning codes
Oh,
complaints.
okay.
She got the hardest job of the site.
You got anything else?
No, sir.
Anybody else got anything?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Need to calm it down next month. We had too much this month. That's ridiculous.
It ain't my fault. I can promise you.
We
can
get
sit there
overtime
and listen to my
pay.
stomach growl. That is
Set that for
you.
Sunday.
That is for you.
What are you doing, Mike?
What is it?
Today is the 12th.